project under War Child.
Great.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you for welcoming us. My name is Ronald Kaziwe. I work as a project manager under Plan International under the consortium of Play Matters.
Thank you, Tracy. My name is Richard Omasete. I work with the International Rescue Committee as the policy and advocacy for the Play Matters project. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you.
Absolutely. So before we dive into this discussion, allow me to cue a video on the screen.
In Play Matters, we have defined learning through play as an active teaching and learning method. We have three components of our definition. The first component is that learning through play is intentionally planned and delivered with a clear learning objective by an adult. The second part of the definition is that we promote interactions, and those interactions can be between children and objects, like these Lego 6 bricks, or between people, so group work and pair work, and between children and their teachers. So we try to promote interactions in our project. And the third part of the definition is that we want to make sure that all children are in a safe and inclusive learning environment where they can feel joyful and be able to participate fully in the lesson. Through Play Matters, we train teachers to build a safe and inclusive learning environment, which includes providing them with classroom management skills and positive discipline skills to make sure that they can manage their classes, which are very large a lot of the time. And then we really try to make sure that they have access to teaching and learning materials. So a good example, again, is the 6 bricks, but we also support teachers to create their own locally available teaching and learning materials, with the idea that if every child has a chance to touch and have a hands-on learning experience, they can really build that iterative process of learning that's so powerful when you involve play.
Learning through play methodology has made me a good teacher. As I'm telling you just now, wherever I can go, I can teach.
So far, Play Matters has reached almost 1,000 schools, supporting nearly 7,000 teachers in those schools, and we've reached over 750,000 children from refugee and host communities across Ethiopia, Uganda, and Tanzania. Yes, Play Matters has a very strong focus on working with school communities. We largely do that through working with school management committees and parent-teacher associations, training them to really understand what learning through play is, sensitizing them to the importance of play in children's learning outcomes, and also engaging them to bring more community members along the journey with us, engaging them in learning through play activities themselves. We do that because in any education reform, it cannot have any sustainability without community ownership and buy-in. Play Matters advances its policy and advocacy aims by working with and through governments in all the 3 countries we work in. Collaboration has been a really critical component of Play Matters' journey, in the sense that everything we've done, all the content we've created, has been co-created with government actors, with community actors, and we've taken a strong formative approach to the project, in the sense that we've done a lot of research to understand issues and challenges at the local level and make sure that the voices of our participants are heavily included in all of our activities. The Play Matters project had to grapple with a huge challenge in Ethiopia. Not only were children out of school because of COVID, but they were dealing with an emergency conflict and a crisis. Play Matters responded by putting in place an emergency response mechanism that had the very unusual characteristic of being multi-sectoral. We brought in education interventions, as well as health, nutrition, and water and sanitation and hygiene and protection for children to ensure that all children, or as many children as possible that were affected by the conflict, would have access to safe, secure school environments as well as nutrition and health and wash services. We are fortunate in Play Matters that the 6 Lego bricks were donated by the Lego Foundation to our Play Matters countries. The 6 bricks concept was created by Care for Education, an organization in South Africa. And this is a wonderful concept in which every child in the classrooms where we work has access to a set of 6 different colored Lego bricks. These bricks allow for thousands of opportunities for integrating into teaching and learning.
I like coming to school because I want to be somebody like a president in my future.
Play Matters is grateful to the Lego Foundation for giving an incredible opportunity to hundreds of thousands of children in East Africa from refugee and host community contexts to achieve their vision of a brighter and more hopeful future.
That is just beautiful. All right, so perhaps we can now get into a chat about what exactly Play Matters is. But perhaps you could just summarize for us what we saw in that video. What is Play Matters and what is it doing to ensure that play is protected?
Play Matters is a consortium of partners, Plan International, International Rescue Committee, and Watch Aid Alliance, that have come together to promote learning through play. So then children learn in their natural way, in the only way that they should learn, which is through play. And this is something that the consortium has been doing here in Uganda, but also in Tanzania, in Ethiopia, and very soon, of course, we'll be expanding also to South Sudan to promote the same, working with the most vulnerable children to ensure that they can learn in their most natural way. So that's Play Matters really in its very, very summarized form. Of course, with partnership from the Lego Foundation, who has given us the resources, including the bricks that we just saw, to be able to make our classrooms child-friendly again.
That's incredible, learning through play.
Yes.
Beautiful. So what would you say is the International Day of Play, and why would you say it's important? I just want each of you to maybe give your perspectives. Maybe we can start with you.
Oh, thank you. The International Day of Play, this is the 3rd time we are celebrating it after, of course, the UN Convention passed a resolution adopting Article 31, which gives every child the right to play, to leisure and recreation. So even when it was passed by the UN on 25th of March 2024, Uganda had already gone ahead, amazingly, to celebrate the National Day of Play. So while it was passed to be celebrated on June the 11th, which is today, Uganda in 2024 had already earmarked 30th of April to celebrate play as an important aspect in the life of the children of this country. So the First Lady was present in Kololo, and unfortunately we're not able to do that this time because of, the crisis that we are faced with. We're not able to convene. So we still want to proceed with letting people know that a child is a child only when you allow them to play and be as natural as they can be.
Great. What's your perspective on the International Day of Play and why it's important?
So celebrating the International Day of Play is we are trying to make, I think, the community, the masses, for people to recognize the importance of play and the powerful, importance of play. Like children, as Joseph said, learn through play, and they are supposed to play, and they develop through play. So play helps children, like, really to be children, and then to develop holistically, because through play, children develop social skills, they develop physically, but they also develop emotional skills, and all those, even the cognitive skills. You know, as children play with different things, they are learning to discover, to explore, and that is developing their mental faculties. So we want, like, the people really to appreciate that play is very, very important and crucial in a child's growth, development, and even learning. Yeah, so it is kind of creating awareness and making people recognize how play is really very important and powerful to children's learning and growth.
Absolutely.
Thank
you. Sir?
Yes, Tracy, children learn and develop best when they are playing. It is in their natural setting. And it comes as the first nature that for children, for them to learn, they have to play in all aspects. So we are saying that let's meet children in their capacities at their level. The International Day of Play gives us an opportunity to come back and create and demonstrate the impact, because we've already demonstrated that play is important. But now we need to show that in contexts where the list where we've had troubled areas, in wars, in conflict zones, we've seen the impact of how play is transforming back its children. So International Day of Play gives us an opportunity to work with the communities, to work with the systems, to work with an individual, you and me, to create these opportunities in our homes, in our schools, in our churches, for children to learn through play. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
Sir?
Thank you. Every 11th of June, the world is going to celebrate International Day of Play. And so it's a day, it's a moment where we really appreciate what learning through play, what play actually embodies. One is the fact that play is a natural desire, and every human would love to play. And so if we take a moment and appreciate this, and how we make the most of this, we will get where we want. Two, evidence has shown that play enables children be able to concurrently, simultaneously, attain all the relevant skills that they need to attain their full development, their holistic growth. And these are aspects that we struggle with. We don't want children to only get a particular set of skills and others out, but play gives them that. Two, we also observe that all communities that play together learn together. And so in every space where children congregate, we would love to see play at the center of how they really engage in that space, be it in their home, be it in the school, be it in the class, even in the hospitals. And you and I have seen that. If you go to the pediatric hospitals, you see the play center, and the children forget their sickness. When you go, imagine this in a school. And so we are getting a moment to amplify that importance. We also want to build evidence. We want to build an understanding, an awareness within all and by all to really appreciate how much play can be impactful to the development and the growth of every child. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let's talk about this year's theme, which is Protect Play, Protect Childhood. Could you tell us, what does this mean, especially in the Ugandan context and also for refugee hosting communities?
I think it's good to first know what the challenge is, even when we've spoken about the very tremendous benefits of play. 1 in 3 children do not have time to play. They say they don't have time to play. That's the situation, even when that's the natural way they live and learn. 1 in 5 do not have play spaces. 1 in another 5 also say that they do not even have someone to play with. Of course, the reasons are very many. But among the very many, we can see that play spaces have been replaced with construction. Play spaces have been replaced by a number of other things. And in our 50 and 100 by 100 plots in a gate, we've locked ourselves and not given children this chance to play. So this is why we are coming out this year to say, let's protect childhood and let's protect play itself. Because a number of children out there not living as they should, they're not thriving as they should, which is important that we have this conversation. So then the systems, governments, communities, and all those that are around the child can actually come together to ensure that the child play space is protected, a child gets time to play, but also a child has the opportunity to find others that they can play with.
Absolutely. I want to come to you and I want to ask you specifically about the challenges that children in displaced and crisis-affected areas face.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tracy. So the challenges the children in affected during crisis or phase, one is the disruption of learning. Disruption of learning, because sometimes these things happen. Maybe crises happen when children are already in school, studying. Then when it happens, they are displaced and they have to move possibly away from their homes, and that means they are not attending school and they are not learning. Two, they have limitation to play. Like there's limited opportunities for them to play because they are moving. I mean, they don't even have the play materials. Sometimes they have no space, safe space for them to play and so on. But also, they are psychologically stressed. Like they are traumatized because of what happens during times of crisis. They experience traumatizing, things, and they are traumatized. So that affects them a lot. They will either not feel okay by themselves, their well-being is affected, but also sometimes they even have nothing to eat. And if they have not eaten, therefore they will even have no energy to play. But also the time for playing and the space for playing, like Joseph has said. So those are some of the challenges these children really meet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with that context, what would you say the theme of this year's International Day of Play means to you, especially within the Ugandan context and refugee hosting communities?
Yes. So this year's theme, protecting play, protecting childhood, would mean that when we are with children, we need to create, for example, a safe space for them like to play, but also to provide materials that are safe for them to play with, so that you are protecting their play, but also, find time to allow them to play in whatever situation they are. So like in a refugee, for example, settlements, sometimes they have what they call safe places for play. They create spaces where at least children can go, play, spaces that are safe with the materials that are also safe for children to play with. But also at home, we are saying parents should really take keen interest in seeing how their children are playing and make sure that the environment the children are playing in are safe. They are also engaging in safe plays, in safe games, because we have seen children sometimes, like they get into plays that are really like risky. So as a parent or some adult who is there, is to make sure you also observe how children play, maybe also join them into play, but also guide them in the risky kind of, games or play activities they may engage in. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sarah, I'd like to shift the question to you as well. From your perspective, what does the theme mean, especially in the Ugandan context?
I want to take it on the side of the community. Because the theme, while we are looking at the physical aspect of play and the physical structures, we also look at the opportunities. We need to create opportunities, not only for the child, but also opportunities for the parent. So the opportunities, like they say, takes a village to raise a child. So the opportunities have to be created across the way our culture is set, the way the community practices are, and we are talking about the practices in the school, practices in the surrounding communities, in the homestead, but also practices in the household itself, starting with the parent. So we have to protect those opportunities, because if we don't, then it starts from that. If we stop protecting the opportunities, then we are going to, before you know it, we are going to realize that we are not pushing it outside in the boundaries on the physical side. So this year, it gives us an opportunity to advocate and come together and rally the communities that they need to create the opportunities for children to play. It can be in things like parenting. I may be with my child and we are washing dishes, and then we are counting. you know, we make it fun and enjoyable. You know, we count, we are sweeping the house, and we are relating to the science that we learned in the school. So those opportunities have to be created for, and all this is playful, and it's done in a playful way. So we need to create for parenting to be playful. That is also another opportunity we are looking at. That is the aspect I'm looking at it from that angle, and I'll hold it here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
Sir, I'd like to shift the same question to you. What does the theme mean to you, and what does it mean in the Ugandan context?
There is a common proverb: all work without play makes Jack a dull boy. I think we all know that, proverb. Mm-hmm. And that proverb, if we take time to listen to it, we realize that a child cannot be separated from play. And therefore, how do you make play meaningful? I think that's where I come from. That's how I interpret this theme. And so I really want to see that as we begin thinking about our children, how we want to reimagine them to enjoy their childhood, but at the end of the day, develop into responsible and trusted future. We need to start thinking, how do we protect their childhood? And what are these things that define the child and that we can protect and ensure that the children really appreciate? And one of the key things is play. I remember one of my commissioners to tell us that children have three things: play, rest, eat. Those are three things, and you can't take those from the child. Now, if these three things, if play is very critical in defining what a child is, what do we understand as play? And therefore, it's critical for us to understand what I would call a spectrum of play, from where they have free play, and how do you protect that free play, where you have guided play, where you have games, and then you have instructed play where you are supporting them, and in all the different spaces where the children find them. It also comes to telling us all those who engage with children, be it in the home, the parents, it could be the elder siblings, it could be caretakers. All these are critical people whom we need to help, okay, to really appreciate play and not constrain and not create an environment where the children become like they're in a prison or they are caged. They want to enjoy themselves. When you go to the school, there should be grounds. Let the children play. If they're in class, use methods of teaching that create that environment that the children love to be in class. You and I have that teacher whom we all remember, whom we loved. And if you think back, you realize that teacher created that environment that you liked. It was maybe playful, it may have been actively engaging. These are attributes that come with play. And so the thing that we would like to see. And then when we come to a national level, how much is the government thinking about preserving play? And so as of now, we do have a national guideline on implementing learning through play in education institutions and community settings. This is coming to provide that guidance of how can you implement play in these spaces. We are also seeing a number of additional frameworks for how to support teacher capacity building and also other aspects. How are we integrating learning through play in those spaces to enable these teachers that when they're interfacing with the children, they are really applying learning through play and not perceiving play as just as an extracurricular moment that you only do it when you think, now I'm getting off my duty, but it should be part of the person. So in protecting play, I want to see us all at all spaces, even in the media, the government, the schools. All these are critical spaces for us to really appreciate play. And I really would like to see play protected. And I would like to see that the children, by virtue of being protected, by virtue of play being protected, really enjoy their childhood.
Absolutely, and I like what each of you has kind of touched on is that it's about the child's kind of mental disposition when they're playing. So when they're forced to learn, they kind of clam up, but whereas when they're playing, they're happy. They even remember things more passively. So yeah, that's incredible. So I want to come back to you, sir. Perhaps you could tell us how Play Matters has created opportunities for children to learn and cope within adversity.
Thank you, Tracy. Play Matters recognizes that play is not aimless. And Play Matters also recognizes that play is the natural way children thrive, but also learn. Play Matters recognizes that if you are looking for grades, super grades, then allow the child to learn in their most natural way. And for that, we have made some contributions. Apart from doing some rehabilitation of play spaces and schools, we've also engaged and continue to engage with government of Uganda, the Ministry of Education to be more specific. And we've made some strides in that direction. For instance, we have ensured that play is embedded within the early childhood care and education policy that was just passed recently by the First Lady. We've also ensured that play is embedded and integrated within the national teacher policy that was also, in the floor of parliament very recently. We've also proceeded to work with government and the Ministry of Education to ensure that play is embedded within the CPD framework, the Continuous Professional Development Framework for teachers, so then teachers can then teach through play and give the child the opportunity to thrive. We've also ensured, my colleague earlier on mentioned the National Play Guidelines, which is in the process. So most of these frameworks and guidelines, we are working with government to ensure that they recognize, because they are the core of most of the implementation of these things. But also, like my colleague said earlier on, it is everyone's responsibility, including you in the media, to ensure that our children learn in their most natural form. Our children get the chance to play. So this we've done by demonstrating it through the actual things we've done, but also in ensuring that it's embedded within the systems that support childhood.
Absolutely. From your perspective, you talked about the different challenges that children face when they've been displaced. So how would you say Play Matters has come in to support with that?
Thank you very much, Tracy. So Play Matters, just picking from where Joseph has ended, he kind of touched on it. Mostly we have tried to work with the teachers to build their competences and retool them in trying to plan lessons that use the play-based approach in teaching. So we help the teachers to structure their lessons in a way that the activity is embedded within the lesson, like engage learners. Learners are interacting with materials. They are learning, for them it is fun. Like if it is counting, they are counting through a game as they are skipping. So for them, they think they are playing, but the teacher knows through this game, this child is learning this concept. So we have done that with the teachers, and we keep continually supporting them. After training them, we give them training for 5 days on how they can use the play-based approach in teaching. And then we follow them up in schools to continue supporting them so that they really gain the confidence and can make the learning through a play approach part and parcel of their teaching methodologies. Besides that, we have also, supported communities. We work with the communities first to make sure that they appreciate that through play children are learning. Sometimes parents think that when children are playing, they are wasting time. And for example, if they came to a school and maybe found children outside playing, they are not normally happy. They think, I've paid my money and the child is only playing and so on. But we want them to understand, we help them to understand that it is through play that children learn best. And then by doing so, we are also encouraging them that even when the children are at home, they can continue engaging them in play as they continue learning. But also to support the teachers with some of the materials. Materials, when children are playing, they really have to interact with something. So we encourage them to support the teachers by either collecting the materials from the local environment, bring to school, and then the teachers turn them into, teaching, learning aids that can help children learn best through play. Yeah, and then of course with the school management committees of the schools, we also work with them to make sure that like they create a school that is safe and conducive for children to continue learning and so on. Thank you.
Perhaps you could tell us about the impact that the program has had over the last 5 years.
I will first take you back slightly
Sure.
to understand Play Matters and where it's coming from. Play Matters is a system strengthening project. And our work is in what we call a nexus area, nexus development area, you know, between emergency, regions that are emerging out of conflict,
Right.
but they are not yet fully
Right.
developed. So we tend to have such systems, such conditions tend to have systems that are not yet built to the level we want them to be.
Yeah.
So Play Matters is working with the government, because when our work is never separated from the government at the different levels. So we work with the systems at the school level, we work with the systems at the community level, we work with the systems at the sub-region and the national level, taking all the way up to the global level. And so our work, while we are doing this work, we also create, we are creating evidence, because sometimes we tend to just do things without leaving evidence.
Right.
So we have an RCT at the back, and the aim is to show that some things work, and they have seen them work. So Play Matters has worked with the communities, and it is magical when communities come together with the schools and the teachers. So you see parents and the teachers coming together to put the learner first, to ensure that the children are learning. That is what we do at the bottom of this.
Yeah.
And one of the impact I can speak on from what has just happened here in Uganda, in the last exams that were released, the PLE exams, we have seen schools that for the last years have not had children passing in Division 1. Children passing, we've seen the numbers going higher. We have seen a trend of change of events in Isinjiro, where, you know, the trend has been that as children go in higher classes, the dropout increases. But we have seen a reversal, where now we are seeing an increment in enrollment as the children go in higher classes. This didn't have happened by magic.
Yeah.
These things happen because certain things came together, you know, the parents, the teachers, the communities, the systems came together and put the child in the middle and said, we are doing it for the child.
Yeah.
And that has created a great impact. We have seen, you know what we are talking about, learning? We have seen communities, especially, you know, Islamic communities have a tendency where they split, girls, boys, children, but also we've had communities where children, girls don't speak. It's in a classroom, but girls can't raise their hand to speak because, you know, they're in the community with boys. But we have seen, because of learning through play, schools that were like that, communities that were like that, having girls who are head girls now. You know, that has not happened in history. And to some people, it may appear like it is, they have seen that every day where they live. But in the communities where we are working, we see that that is magical.
Yeah.
And now we are seeing that the children are beginning to have hope for the future. You know, where a child thought that the best I can achieve is being the one with the most wives in the village. Now they are seeing, hey, I can actually be a doctor. I can be an engineer. I can design something that's going to change the lives of communities. And we've seen that happening. We have seen change in classroom practices, teachers changing behavior. And just that tweak of changing the classroom practices, where you're saying the learner comes first, and how it has evolved learning, where children are now interested in learning, where children are coming to school, where parents are no longer pushing children to bring to school, but the children are the ones telling you when is school, when is it coming, when is the weekend ending. That's impact that we are seeing.
Absolutely, that's
Yes.
incredible. If I can ask, sorry, just this is off script, but I just wanted to ask, up to what level does the learn through play go up to when it comes to like classes and stuff? Up to what level?
Learning through play goes all the way up to the PhD.
Really? Wow, okay.
You know, it is how you integrate it into into how we are doing. Even here,
Yeah.
if we had an opportunity, Joseph would demonstrate for you here how we can make this playful and enjoyable, and yet at the end of the day we are learning. It grows across all levels.
Yeah.
Yes. So we shouldn't be telling.
If you had a small ball, you'd just toss it, and whoever picks it responds to your question. So then would be playing.
Producer is taking notes.
So we would be.
But for the Play Matters project,
Yes.
I think we are focusing mainly on pre-primary and then primary. That's where we are. But like Ronald said, it can go even up to university, even at the workplace.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing. Because your mind is more relaxed. It's more open to absorbing information.
True.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing.
And it takes you back to your natural setting as a child. You get in touch with the child. You become less angry,
Yeah.
less stressful. You know,
Absolutely.
try it out here.
That's incredible. I will. So, moving on to you, sir, I would like to ask, well, if you have any comment to add on, or shall I move on to the next question?
No, it's okay.
Okay, great. So how are you sustaining and scaling learning through play beyond just the refugee host communities?
Thank you. First, let me say that education is a right, and therefore everybody has that right to attain that education that they so desire, but also that they should actually attain. So that's fundamental. And so whether you are in a refugee setting or outside refugee setting, you must do this. And we know that, of course, the refugee settings are really underserved. The systems in there are stretched. Funding has dropped significantly. So the environment is a bit harsh. And we are working closely with the necessary players within government and also within kind of being quite innovative in how we are implementing learning through play. There are key things that you and I will ask ourselves, and they are replicated across all levels. We want to see all children go to school. We want to see all children stay in school. We want to see all children finish school. So that's one thing. So by demonstrating that learning through play can attain all these, that it can attract children to school, that when the children go to school, they love class, they love what they're experiencing in the class, they will continue, that they will complete their different cycles, finish pre-primary, go to primary, desire, like Ronald mentioned, they're looking towards next week. Friday comes and they're like, oh my goodness me, when is Monday coming? And they continue. And every year in, year out, they reach primary 7 and they love education, and so they want to cross over secondary. Those are things that we want to see. By doing this naturally in this setting, and people see this happen, there is a natural desire for what is good. Everybody wants to attach themselves to what is good. So the first thing is that evidence to demonstrate that whatever you are doing is impactful, that the children are coming, they are staying, they are completing, and they are completing with good grades. And I think Ronald already alluded to that. So that's now one thing. The second thing is, like you mentioned, we are intentionally working with the government. And therefore, what is that has to be done to see that children go to school? What's the government doing? What is that the government is doing to see that children stay in school? What is that the government is doing to see that children are transiting? So in all those that government is doing, we are coming and saying, this is the evidence that learning through play is bringing. And so how are we integrating learning through play in those aspects? Because by doing it in that, sustainability and continuity is attained.
Yeah.
That's number one. 2, who are the players supporting this mechanism that government is putting in place? So how do we reach out to those players? I think Ronald mentioned about the community. How are we reaching out to the lower local governments, the sub-counties? How are we harnessing that potential to see that they support schools to have learning through play based on the evidence that we have created? How are we putting in place, how are we supporting schools to have management committees across all schools? And that demonstration that this committee functions here and is enabling this, definitely the other school is going to be attractive. So we are seeing that, one, we are putting evidence at the forefront to demonstrate learning through play. Two, we are supporting government to do those initiatives that are relevant to making that enabling environment for this to actually happen. And like Joseph mentioned earlier, there's the Early Childhood Care and Education Policy recently launched by the Minister of Education. It is meant to enable more children go to pre-primary, especially in the rural setting. So we are making sure that in that policy, learning through play is very evident. We are looking at the teachers who are responsible for our children. And these kids need the capacity. And so by ensuring that that capacity, learning through play is embedded in those skills that are needed by these teachers, we are sustaining learning through play and enabling the teachers to have that capacity to really attract and to have that engagement with the learners. We are also looking at the curriculum. Right now, there's a review of the curriculum for pre-primary, and there's also an ongoing review for primary. We are seeing that in that curriculum, how much are we embedding learning through play? Because by seeing that learning through play is in the curriculum, inevitably the teachers need that skill, also getting the teachers. And so having this in all the spaces, having it done by government and also having it attractive, then other players are going to pick out and say, wait a minute, can we also have this? So we are supporting this. Then lastly, where we are, we try to reach everybody at institutional level. So if we're in a school, we want to do it in the entire school. If we're reaching the district, we want all the actors within the district, we want to support all the actors that district. Even if we are in a few schools out of resource limitation, the higher actors are able to transfer this to another level. So having that critical workforce is very, very relevant for us to transfer this into other places. And the most difficult question is that we are a project and we are time bound, we are living. So whom are we leaving able to transmit this, to carry this on? And those are the different actors that we have closely worked with. And so over the years, we've been able to build that capacity. At least wherever we are, all the different players now have that capacity as we speak. Now it's about demonstrating and seeing people really attain. And so we've been in Uganda for the past 5+ years, and we're going to have additional 4 years. And it's a time now really just to, what I would call mop up, galvanize, consolidate whatever we have done, and really by the time we leave, it should be now a seamless ownership by the different players.
Incredible. So as we go into our final round of questions, perhaps each of you can tell us what the ordinary Ugandan can do to protect play as well as protect childhood, and then basically end with a call to action of what it is that we can do. So sir, maybe you can go first.
I think our viewers up to this point recognize that play is important. And this is why we've been speaking, and Play Matters really has turned play into a methodology for children to learn. And we have seen that when they learn through play, play has rules, so there's more respect for one another. There's some socio-emotional learning that happens in the process. But also we've actually seen results coming in from the actual learning outcomes in terms of literacy and numeracy. We've also seen children happier, especially in the emergency areas where we work, where those that are that are in conflict play together. We see communities that are divided coming together to play. So this is the further the impact of play can go. It can bring communities together, it can improve grades, it can improve on socio-emotional learning as well, because where there's play, there are rules. You take turns, you must respect someone and stuff like that. Now, these are things that they learn naturally through play. That said, it is important that our viewers and everyone, because the child is the responsibility of everyone, first of all, starts by preserving play spaces, restoring those that have been destroyed, And where they've been replaced by construction or by other projects, development projects, that don't put a child at the center of things, then let's find alternatives. That is very, very important. Secondly, it is important for the world out there to know that play is not a waste of time. It's a myth. Those that think play is a waste of time, I think we need to break that myth, bust it, so they know that play is a very important vehicle for the child and for the parents, for the community. It brings people together. There's a power that it plays. And I was speaking to a pediatrician friend recently. They are starting to see cases of diseases that we used to see when people are older in young children. Obesity, I think, is also very common because we've denied children the right to be children. So I would like to call on everyone out there, starting with, of course, those that have mandate, government, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Gender, those within the communities, to accept play, to embrace it, to support it, and ensure that every child has time to play, has space to play, but also has the opportunity to find other people to play with and not locked in our fences and all that, monitored by cameras. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Tracy. Yes, mostly Joseph has said it all, but to all people viewing, I would say to the ordinary Ugandan, one thing I would say is allow children to play. Allow children to play, like Joseph is saying, don't restrict children. Sometimes we want to protect children. We think when they go to play, they will either, get hurt or get dirty or things of that kind. So allow children to play, provide children with play materials, and of course, as we provide the play materials, we need to provide materials that are safe for the children to play with. I'm talking of safety in totality, because now, for example, our parents, especially the elite, like they give children, for example, like tablets to play with, but those are not the safest for children to play with. Yes, there are some which have games that the children can, play with, but sometimes children explore further to get into content that is not suitable and appropriate for them. So then, like, parents should provide materials for play, but also ensure that where children are playing from is safe and children are engaging in safe plays or safe games, So create space at least somewhere for children to play. Even if you are in a small place, maybe behind, at the back of your house, you can create somewhere, or within a house. We have seen some people with houses and some corners where specifically children have to play. And then we are also encouraging that let either the caregivers or parents join children during play. So as you join children during play, you are helping them even to develop other skills that you didn't intend. For example, they develop communication, they're asking you questions, you are answering, they are interacting, they are learning to be confident. And they are doing that knowing that you are behind, you are supportive. So they don't, like we've seen children, especially those who are restricted to play, they sneak out and they go to play. And as they do that, sometimes they get problems from there. But if they know the parents or someone who is taking care of them is in support, then they go out very, openly. They even come to communicate and say what they were engaged in and what they were able to learn. For example, I went to play, I met a friend, or I've got a new friend, and this is what I learned from it and all that. So that's what I would say.
When Beatrice talks about parenting with tablets and screens, partly it's because we do not have space enough for them to play. Because whenever they have space to play, they won't need your phone or tablet. They will just go and play. But also, let's not mistake video games for the play we are advocating for.
Yeah.
Because play is actually when there's interaction. Play is when there's creating and touching things. Play is when there's movement of the body. So play is broader than just sitting on a tab for the entire day and stuff like that. And that's the kind of play that we're advocating for, where there's movement, interaction, there's touching, there's playing. When you see a child pushing a stone, for them they are seeing a Lamborghini. They are seeing, a Land Cruiser. But us, we just see a stone. That's how it pushes the imagination to become extremely creative.
Absolutely, and that's a very important distinction. It's not for video games, it's for actual physical play. Amazing. Yes, sir, if we can move on to you and your parting shots and what the ordinary Ugandan can do to protect play and protect childhood.
Tracy, for me, it will start from, these days, in every meeting you go to at a national level, there's this whole thing about the 21st century skills. Everyone is singing, our workforce need to come up with these, we need to have these skill sets. And we forget that these things should have been developed as competences when children were young. We have denied opportunities for the children to get these competences, and we think that when we graduate, now we are going to automatically get them. For me, when I'm seeing a child playing kwepena, playing dodgeball, I'm seeing children that are building their skill sets in communicating, networking, decision making, fast thinking. Thinking, should I throw, should I hit the other side? These are skill sets that are developed way at an early age, and play gives us an opportunity to do that. So for you, an individual who is out there, the first thing you should do in your sphere of influence is to create the space, create the opportunity for the children. If you're a board member in a school, go in the school and ask, why are the children seated like as if they're in a lecture room? Let's change it. Let's ensure that the sitting changes, first of all, so that maybe then there's more interaction. At church, you could be a church leader. What is happening in Sunday school? Are they just reading children the Bible, or they are singing it out? And these are all your spheres of influence. And then after that, participate in the decisions to change some of these things so that you don't just speak. They say many times as Ugandans, we are tigers on their phone, but in actual aspect, when it comes to physical things, we are like a cat. Here we go back and go back in a corner. Let's participate in some of these difficult conversations. And then last, be part of behavior change. Start with you. Be at home and play. Be in a corporate space. Come and ensure that people get in touch with the child. That is why I'm so sure they do team building here. And I'm so sure your team building is not just putting you in a lecture room. They try to make you go run around and all these things. So if it's good for you, an adult, it's good for a child. So let's do that every day so that we get. The role of a child is to be a child, not to be an adult. So we need to protect that space for a child and ensure the child plays. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Listening to Ronald, I was blown, and actually I was loving his parting messages. But it got me to think, actually to rethink. It takes a community to raise a child. That's something we all say. And I want to look at, first starting from the cell of a community, which is the family. And in a family, we need to appreciate that the children need to enjoy, and we need to protect their childhood, that they can be responsible and the kind of adults we seek for the future and for ourselves as we age. And therefore, we need to appreciate where are our children spending most of their time. To me, in the home is critical. In the school is another very critical space. And we need, as parents, to appreciate that and support every space our children are spending most of their time. In the home, when they're at home, we need to see that our children remain children, like Ronald said. But we also need to see that they are actually attaining. We should be intentional that whatever we are doing, we are forming our children into the kind of adults we want them to be. When they go to school, we need to protect play in the school so that the children also love school, that when they leave home, wherever they are going, they love the school. We need to support the children very, very much, support the schools in a way that the schools are able to implement this, which we see as a very powerful method of how to teach them, of how to enjoy their time in the school. I talk about the community of the school. Who are the players in the school? I don't want to talk about if you are a board member of the school. What is your responsibility to the school? What can we do to see that this school actually provides the environment the child should enjoy? How are we providing the necessary tools for the other players within the school, the teachers? And also the teachers, how do you continuously attain the kind of skill that you need to see that this method is actualized? So these are aspects that we need to see. Who is responsible for skilling these teachers? What community is that? We have the different academia, the teacher training institutions. Are they abreast with the skills today that can enable these children? I think at that level, they also have that responsibility. By and large, I'm saying each individual, wherever you are, you have a responsibility towards children. And you must appreciate that responsibility and own that responsibility first and foremost. So upon owning that responsibility, then therefore, what am I within my responsibility? What's my contribution towards this? If I'm a minister, and I want to thank the First Lady and the Minister for launching the National Day of Play in 2024, to amplify the relevance and the impact it creates. If you are a policymaker, if you are a humanitarian actor, what are you doing within your mandate? So we need to appreciate ourselves, even the media. Thank you for hosting us. You have a responsibility towards amplifying this. How do you tell the world out there that this is not an option? Because it is inherent, it's part of the child. You can't take it away from them. Taking them away from them is taking away part of them, and therefore you are killing them. Like I mentioned, all work without play makes a child a dull boy. I also mentioned that all communities that don't play together, but all communities that play together learn together. So how do we take on this? And how is this supporting education? And remember, education is a right. So how are we supporting play to see that this right is attained and they really grow into the kind of people we have? So we all have a responsibility for the future, but that responsibility for the future starts now. And therefore, we need to protect, play, and preserve that childhood. That will be the future for Uganda. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you all so much. It's been such an insightful discussion. I've certainly learned a lot about especially the relationship between learning and playing, not even just as a child, but even as we get older and move into university and the workspace. Thank you all so much. And thank you for tuning in as we have discussed the International Day of Play and what Play Matters is doing to ensure that childhood and play are protected and preserved. Remember, this is a shared responsibility all the way from government and leadership to schools, to the community, to teachers, to parents, to older siblings. We can all make a difference within our different spheres of influence. Thank you so much for tuning into NBS Breakfast Meeting. My name is Tracy Ikopit. Until next time, God bless.